we had took our mom there. She was rushed there from my brother's home in Daytona Beach. Possibly had a seizure or a stroke. We didn't find. I don't know. I didn't know at the time. But she went into emergency surgery there. They said it would take 30 to 45 minutes. They had to go into her brain and dissolve a blood clot, supposedly. However, the surgery took 3 hours. I still don't know why it took 3 hours today. Um, I have been doing research, and from what I've seen, it could have been some wrong site surgery or something. I just never could get any answers from them, actually. After During the surgery, the doctor came out a couple of times to just let us know that everything was okay. Also, in the midst of that, the anesthesiologist came out, William Turner. He came out and he said that I guess he said that she was a mess. He said that my mom was a mess. They had other people that they could be doing surgery on. She was waving her arms and he was trying to sedate her, which really bothers me because she was back there by herself, and for him to come out and say that, it really bothered me, um, because I just don't feel like that was something for him to say, um, whether it was bedside manner or not. But anyway, the doctor came out again before the 3 hour surgery was up, and she said, "Do not be alarmed." She said, "Everything, it looks worse off than it is." And they said that we could follow them over to the ICU unit so they can clean her up. When they rolled my mom out, she had vomit all over her. She was incubated. We had no idea that a ventilator was even put into her. She was out of it. I mean, it was so much worse off from when she went in. I didn't understand what had happened within those 3 hours. Something that was supposed to take the 30 to 45 minutes ended up 3 hours. What were they doing back there was my thing. And when she came out, she was a mess. They cleaned her up. She went into ICU. We stayed by her bedside, my brother and myself. I drove from Holiday, Florida, all the way to Daytona Beach, Florida, so I was tired and I had to take my dog with me as well in my car. So my brother and I took turns staying with my mom because he lived a little distance from the hospital. So he would stay during the day with her while I get some rest. I would stay at night because the more questions I asked about the surgery, the more they had gotten defensive. I felt like something had went wrong, and the more questions I asked, the more they would get upset. I would catch them, the doctors rather, I would catch them in um, lies rather than just telling us the truth. A few days passed by. My mom, she's just laying there the whole time, incubated. They're giving her medications. Nothing is happening. When they did rush us over from the operating room, the doctor and the anesthesiologist who made that comment, he said that they said, "Oh, she'll be up the next day. It'll be fine. She'll be up the next day. Everything will be fine. She'll go back home." That never happened. So they deceived us. I mean, I believe they just said it to appease us, just to, keep us calm or whatever. But she laid there for at least 3 days before I really started asking a lot of questions. I asked for the operative notes, which I'm used to getting after any surgery. They gave me the runaround about that. The doctors gave me the runaround about that, actually. They said that I would not be able to get the operative notes until she's discharged. Why? I've never heard of that before. And then this one specific day, um, my brother, because I was sleeping in my car outside the hospital with my dog, because it was too far to go to my brother's home. So when my brother would come, we would like change shifts. I would sit with her at night. My brother advised me that the case manager was looking for me because I was my mom's power of attorney as well as her medical surrogate. I went and found her, and she asked me to sign a document basically stating if I was planning to sue the hospital, just I would agree to sit down with them first and discuss anything before I went and received legal representation. And I found that to be rather odd, and I asked her, is this something that happens often? And she like shrugged it off or whatever. And I asked for a copy of the paper. I never signed it, of course, because I felt like something was totally wrong. And she would not give me a copy of that document. So after that, we're wanting to get our mother off of this ventilator. We're knowing that something is wrong at this hospital. Any questions that I have, they would have an attitude, or I would catch them in lies. They would be deceiving me. And then one particular day, before that, the doctors would come around in the morning, and we wanted our mother off of the ventilator because we don't, understand why it's there, why it was put there. They would come around and they said that she would have to be alert in order for her to be able to get off of that ventilator. So they would come around, they would pinch her, they would rub her in her chest really hard. Mind you, she's laying there, she can't do much because she's under the medication. We were asking them, why was she sleeping so much? They say, oh, her brain is healed. That's what they were telling us. But my brother was in the medical field, and he one day looked at the medications and he saw that they were giving her a mass amount of Keppra. And when he brought that to their attention, that's when they started to really scramble, and then they started coming out. They came out and they put all types of things on her head and act like they were really trying to help us or help her. But before that, there was nothing. Before we found out about the Keppra, they wouldn't do nothing. They were just saying that her brain was healing. So she's just laying there the whole time with this ventilator inside of her. I do not have any operative notes to find out what went on in that operating room. Minute for minute, that's what those operative notes are for. So after they rolled out the red carpet for that one day, we wanted a second opinion. And that's when they really started to fight us. People would not, I wouldn't even tell the story because people wouldn't believe what was going on or believe my story. It was like a chapter out of one of Stephen King's books. That's why my brother and I stayed with my mom the whole time, because she couldn't talk or anything. So they said that we would have to be the ones to find a hospital that would take her, and also we would have to pay for the transport. And we said okay, because we wanted a second opinion, because nothing was going on here, and the way that they were acting, and they were just changing out medicine, giving her medicine after medicine. medicine after medicine, and nothing is happening. They were giving us attitudes. The doctors were very snippy. Um, anyway, my brother and myself, we started looking for hospitals closer to the area where my mother lived, because my mother was just over there visiting my brother for that storm Ian. So we didn't live over there. We didn't have any family there or anything. So we needed to get closer to home where we had that. So we put in for hospitals closer. However, the doctors at Halifax said that there was nothing else that could be done for my mom. This is just me. My belief, my mom wasn't as bad off as I feel that they made her that way. They made her as bad off as she was at that point. I felt that something happened inside of that ER room, whether it was wrong site surgery or whatever the case may be. Because for that surgery to take that long and they have no explanation, no operative notes. But anyway, outside of that, we found a doctor in Ocala, and we were able to try to get her transported. Now, mind you, they were not helping us with any of this in the beginning. I think they were thinking that we were just going to give up, but we needed to get our mom out of this hospital for what was going on. This is my mom, and she was just laying there, and she was nothing like that when she came to that hospital at all. I mean, it was really, really bad. One night it got so bad to the point where I called the sheriff's department, because mind you, we're over there by ourselves. We don't have any family or anything. I felt like they were so against us, and I'm not exaggerating. I felt like they were so against us, and it was just myself, my brother, and my mom and his wife. I felt they were so against us, and I just felt like they weren't wanting her to make it. That's how I felt, so nothing would be uncovered. This is just what my beliefs from being in the situation. So I called the sheriff department in Orange in Volusia County. I called my mom's. I called Florida Blue. I called my mom's primary care physician. I needed to find a way out, because I felt like they were just holding us hostage and they did not want us to leave that hospital. But my brother and myself, we continued to fight and fight and fight. And then we found the doctor in Ocala who would take her. Now, once we found that doctor, they said they would take her. However, then we had to worry about the transport, because with us wanting a second opinion, the hospital would not pay for the transport. They said we had to pay for it ourselves. Only thing that I know is we had to get our mom out. So the day of that we were supposed to be trying to get our mom out of there, the case manager, she came to me again, and she told me the transport service. She told me the transport service that we're transporting. So I called them myself, and I got a quote of how much it would be. My brother and I started working on that. Mind you, they were just trying to they were putting pressure on us, basically. That's the way it felt. And the case manager for the hospital, she came in and she said, "Here's your quote. Here's the quote. Look at this." And then I looked at it and it said $1,500. However, the gentleman on the phone from that transport service, he gave me a quote of $1,400 and something. So I looked at it or whatever, and I took it from her. I guess she wasn't expecting me to take it, but she gave it to me and she left. Now, mind you, once I really sat down and I looked at that quote, that was a quote from someone else. That quote was from a gentleman who was receiving transport service on September the 8th of the same, which was a month before us. It had their credit card. They had their credit card information, like the last four digits at the end. So I felt like she was just giving me that to like throw me off, for me to say, oh, that's too much money, oh, we can't go anywhere. Because that was not our quote. It had someone else's name and their credit card number and their address on it. And I have that information as well. I still have it. So along with that, the doctor and the nurse, they continued all day. I had stopped her medication. I stopped my mom's medications because I felt like they were trying to do something for us not to leave this hospital. It may be hard to believe. That's why I didn't even tell my family the story, because I didn't think anyone would believe it. My brother and I, we fought so hard to get our mom out of that hospital. I mean, no one would understand. It was the worst thing that I ever went through in my life. I cannot believe that healthcare professionals, that we put our life into their hands, would do this to cover up whatever they were doing, whatever happened. But they were rushing. The doctor came back and he was like, why won't you give your mom? Why? No, I'm sorry. He was like, why did you stop? Why did you stop her medication? Why won't you allow us to give her medication? I would not allow them to do it. And then I was on the phone with my father trying to get up $1,500 to have her transported. And my dad was like, who is that talking to you like that in the background? And that was the doctor. Basically, he was wanting me to say that I believe that they did something. That's what I feel. But I would never say it because we need to get my mom out of here. It was just so many things going on and the pressure. And then it was that one nurse. It was a nurse that I told them that I didn't want to work with her anymore with my mom. Just because of how rude she was and everything. And how about they put that nurse with us that morning when we were supposed to leave? Why would they do any of this? It was like a cult. I mean, it was the scariest thing I've ever witnessed in my life. And then it was just, we didn't have family with us because we were over in Daytona. So it was just my brother and myself fighting to get my mom out of here. And it was the hardest thing that I ever went through in my life. And we fought them so hard. We fought them so hard. They saw that we would not give up until at the end, they just said, forget it, they'll pay for the transport.